We're on Facebook live stream.
Yeah. You went to the restaurant. She's on the Teresa, I don't know. It's getting crazy in here.
You all ready to start? You all here?
We are ready.
All right, well, back on, we'll turn it over to you.
All right. So first off, I'd like to say thank you. I know this was a lot of work to prepare this document, going through the whole CBA, and we appreciate the time and effort that was put into that. But we don't feel that the collective bargaining process is being respected. So normally, track change documents are shared, we go through the details, we care about the details as a union, and sending this document, we have, not able to process this as it is. Also, we've sent 5 proposals, I think, and we have not received any responses on any of those. And that, again, is not respecting the collective bargaining process. So, we send you a proposal, then we should have a track changes response. As a faculty, we're unionized, that's something we voted for. We want to have this process of negotiations back and forth with the administration about the details of our employment. That is what we want as faculty. So at this time, we don't feel comfortable signing anything. We're going to have a few meetings this week with faculty to talk about these proposals. And we would expect a track changes from the original CBA if we could get that, so that we can go over the details and the differences. This is our CBA, our current CBA, so we want to know what we'd be agreeing to that would be different. We understand.
Provide that, but it's just gonna be a word comparison over.
Okay,
This is for that, which you all can easily do.
all right. Can we use your,
You can use whatever you like, I can work on
okay,
whatever administratively you want to.
okay,
It could be more streamlined if we had it from your initial development proposal, but, as you developed it, looking at what you had in existence and then what changes were removed, sections that were changed or retitled, reclassified, those things.
yeah, okay. We understand that the administration wants to sign quickly, and that there have been personnel changes over the past 6 months that we've been trying to bargain, but we're just not prepared to sign a whole CBA in 2 weeks. So what we're proposing is to meet on November 7th, and to hash out a compensation proposal, compensation MOU rather, so do the MOU. I did want to bring up that we received an email from Dr. Hall while we were in bargaining saying that everyone got a 3% raise, which is again,
It doesn't say that.
It doesn't say that.
it doesn't say that? Okay, what does it say?
It says that there's an eligible 3% that was part of the agreement that,
Okay. All right,
but it's not
again,
just faculty, it's staff as well that I gotta represent, so.
we understand that, but when something is offered to faculty, it has to go through the union.
That's what we're doing this afternoon. So.
Okay,
You're good.
all right.
Just to be clear,
So-
3%, the union would not get the 3%. The intent right now, and you correct me if I'm wrong, is that the 3% for staff is going to go to the board on the 18th of
Actually,
November.
that's already been approved by the board, and you're gonna process that.
Faculty, obviously, we can't offer that, can't implement that while we're still negotiating, so that wouldn't go through unless we had an agreement, which we're hopeful that it doesn't sound like that's where we're headed to, but
Well, and I'll also clarify. I think two things. One, I would expect that you accept this as our response to your previous request. Two, there will be no more MOUs. We're moving forward with the CBA, and that's what we'll be. With whether it's this one or a modified one, we're not doing any more MOUs at this point.
Which would be to say if we don't have adequate time to go, because it was overwhelming. I started reading it and I was overwhelmed because of so many different ways to think through these articles. Then there would be, everything is flat, is what you're saying, for faculty. Until the complete bargaining agreement is finished.
Correct.
And you're willing to say that.
I'm making it clear that there will be no more MOUs until we come to a final CBA. Whether it's this one or an amended one, whatever that CBA might be, there's no more MOUs at this point.
And that's to the goal to not delay, to, what is the goal with that?
I'm not going to do patchwork at this point. We've been dealing with this for an agreement that's 2 years old. Been doing this for months. We will follow the agreement process and the collective bargaining process itself, but there's going to be no more MOUs.
When can we expect a response to the parental leave and the course banking and the overload rates?
You received it today. What I'm presenting today is my response.
So if it's not in here, your response is no.
Unless you want to present something back in addition to it, once you've looked at this, feel free to reduce any other requests that you want back to us and say, based on what was presented today, you can say, look, could we consider this as part of an agreement process? We'll entertain that, but I would say anything up to this point, we feel like this is a good reflection of the work, trying to listen to the discussions. If there are gaps that you feel like are still missing, then again, that's part of the agreement process back and forth. And so if that takes us a few weeks, if that takes us a few months, if that takes us the rest of this year, whatever it might take, my goal is to get everybody at the same point as quickly as possible. But like I said, there will be no more MOUs until we come to a final agreement.
Do you understand the reason why this would be a challenge for us in terms of the turnaround? With so many articles that were thought through, probably longer than they needed to be. But now to have, such a quick turnaround on some really, really key things about our workplace conditions, in addition to how we govern together. The goal of the union is not just to have what is appropriate compensation. It's really to protect us as workers of this college, but also to be a team, as you mentioned,
I
to
completely
govern
agree.
together to say this is appropriate. And obviously you'll all have to, the bottom line is you're trying to manage the whole college. We know that. But at the same time, I just would like to understand if you understand the challenge that we are under. Because if we do not make this agreement and our faculty will begin to, for another month or however long it takes, not have increased compensation, in addition to bringing in our nursing people, and whoever else it is. We know we need these high demand, so we don't want to put a kibosh on that. Absolutely not. But we have to have fair time to really look through these things because they're quite different. And some things are missing,
And that's why I say, if there's responses that you think you need to send back and say, here's things that you feel like are missing, we'll follow the collective bargaining process back and forth on those gaps. But I would say this, I think what you see before you today is a culmination of a lot of work across the board, again, I respect what you're saying. Don't think that I'm diminishing that. But what I am trying to say is that we're not going to do any more MOUs. If we're going to move forward, we're moving forward with a bargaining agreement that reflects how we work together and how we come together as a team and respect those processes. And again, if there's things you feel like are missing from the agreement, then I want to ask that you submit those, through the process so that we can follow those and look at them and see, just like we're asking you to consider these things, we'll consider anything else that you want to send back.
Mhm.
This is not intended to be an adversarial situation, but at the same time, I'm moving forward with the 3% for our staff. And again, that was approved as part of the 2.1. Now, at this point, if you want to send back feedback, again, for consideration, we recognize it's a fast turnaround. I'm not going to sit here and minimize that, but if we need to have it by November, that's great. If we have to come back in January at the next board meeting, then we'll work through that process as well. It's not like an all or nothing. It's just saying that in order for the November board meeting, I'm not going to do an MOU that bridges between now and then, or bridges between now and January, or bridges between now and whenever we come to a date, agreement on what is appropriate.
Yeah, and we do understand because we've lived through that.
Mhm.
All right, well, we'll just go ahead and just do this at home. And we understand that is really operationally not a great thing to have. So I think as a team, we recognize
I
that.
think my personal opinion on that, is that I think we've done a lot of Band-Aids is what I've seen over time, instead of just having a hard conversation and the hard truth about how do we work and do the things we need to get done. I put serious considerations on the table today, and honestly, I'm a little insulted by some of the comments already about expectations and everything else. Expectations go two ways. And so we can talk about co-governance all day long, but we're going to talk about, I think you've heard this from other folks too, about co-responsibility. And you can't have authority and lack accountability. And so we're going to work together to solve this, but I need you all to come to the table with what is realistic. Like I said, if there's things in federal law, state law that are protected, and if you see things that are missing, then send it our way and we'll take it into consideration. I'm not saying everything's off the table, but what I'm saying is I'm not going to do an MOU to bridge us while we try to figure this out.
Fair.
So.
We had a compensation committee that spent 9 months really trying to evaluate
And I can
something
tell
that
you-
would be an improvement. And so because we don't understand how that informed the decisions, there's a history to our process and we want to improve it. I'm hearing that. We want to improve it, we want to streamline it, we want to be clear as kind, is that it?
It is, yes.
Right? But at the same time, we can't just throw out, we can't put blinders on. Well, we spent some time looking at the reasons for our changes with, one-to-one or how we're evaluating how these, for instance, we've got math and Spanish instructors who will teach 16 credits and they don't really get paid for that. So we're not really understanding that, and so there needs to be some of that.
And I
So
think those types of questions, we want to take those on. I'm not saying it's an all or nothing thing. I'm just saying that we're not going to do an MOU just on compensation. We need to get to the point where we can come together as a team and say, how do we work together to do business together? And I think if there are things that you're saying you feel like are missing, get those to us. But what I was saying is that, to your point, Caitlin, you asked about some of these pending requests. We tried to take everything we can and incorporate it in here, but there's not like a pending item out there for us to come back in writing and say, oh, we're working on that. We're not working on that. What I worked on was this with our team, and we worked on a budget that is trying to invest strategically in the work that we can get done and try to put us on par and to really be, to be fair, and I'm looking at the compensation study, we are extremely regionally competitive. And what we're getting ready to invest to go to the next level, I want the very best faculty and staff here to do the work that needs to get done. And if I wasn't serious about it, I wouldn't throw the rates on the table that I'm throwing to try to get us there and have us on par, even though it's 5 hours. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying, look, I'm asking you to do 5 hours more and get the 3% that we're putting across the college. What I'm saying is that 3%, but also let's take the additional step because of the 5 hours I'm asking you to put into the training and the planning and everything else. Again, I want to invest in the capacity, but if there's real nitpicky things that we need to get into and things that are really glaring, bring those things to the table. If you're going to ask me to move a comma in a period and do some things like that, don't waste my time. I dedicate my afternoon to studying it to meet on these things. And I want you to take the time to go through it, study it, come back with the questions. But let's have the hard conversations and really deal with, again, let's not major in the minors. Let's get to the major things that guide how we do work in business here.
we're just in this position of, and we will do that because we do, we'll work our full-time teaching and then we'll get on this because we know we are representing the faculty, so we're gonna have the meeting to hear from them. But all of that, so that, and we in good conscience are hearing from them and knowing what to do, what is the next thing to do.
And I appreciate that. My only request to the unions, well, probably a few requests. One would be, I would ask that you really take a hard look at this, because while you're contemplating things that are not major issues, it does stand in the way of the compensation adjustment. And it's not just the 3% or the 5% or the 8% or whatever we get to, or the 10%. It's also the difference in those high demand positions that I need to get filled. And we're talking far some significant dollars there. So while all this is being contemplated and pontificated and everything else with every committee under the sun, I need the groups to come together quickly and get us a response on what the things that are really the non-negotiables for you guys, so we can get on the paper, have a hard discussion about it, and fix it and move on. If not, we're going to lie on month after month, and that's not productive for you, it's not productive for the college, it's not productive, most important, for our students.
Well, the contract though can only be negotiated, it's gonna be every 3 years, with 3 articles possibly, right? So if we do something that we're not quite sure is what we need, we can't open it again to adjust those articles for 3 years.
Also, you know, as a union, we are representing the faculty. So I'm the union president, but I can't sit here and make a decision about something
No, I
because I'm
appreciate
representing faculty. So we're gonna be having several meetings this week with other faculty to talk about this, because these are big decisions, and we have an ethical and legal obligation to represent
And I
our
promise you, I do appreciate that. Take care of our team is what I'm asking you to do. And all I'm saying is that please focus on the things that you see as really being the critical elements, because if we find ourselves sitting here trying to nitpick over something that at the end of the day does nothing to impact your performance, your ability to do your job well, and support you with the working conditions that you need and every other faculty member needs here at the college, let's make sure we again focus on the right things we need to get done, and not spend time letting something that is a personal issue or something that somebody just doesn't like this one word that at the end of the day is not going to change how we do business together at this college. Don't spend time on the things that aren't going to, is all I'm saying. Spend time on the things that are going to help us take care of our team and get done what we need to get done.
I don't think we have a history of that. If anything, with the prior VP, he was the one that did that. And so we do not have a history. We do not.
And I can't
So
say
we don't
those
have
things, and that's-
pro nitpicking, it was.
If there was nitpicking, it wasn't coming from us.
No, and I'm not saying it was. I'm just trying to say, we're working together, because I want you to expect the same thing from me, from our team. We're not trying to be nitpicky. My urgency is more about the fact I have funds allocated in the budget for this year. The longer we take, yes, that means that those dollars might carry forward for next year, but at the same time, I've got critical positions I need to get hired. I really do. And what I'm going to ask is that the union not keep the college from doing what it needs to do to serve our students in this community. And my fear is that the longer we take to work on those aspects that are really not the big items, we're going to sit back and we're going to find that we have a delay, we're going to miss another semester, we're going to miss another class, we're going to go into summer, and then we're going to find ourselves in a situation where we've not done anything to change the conditions here to meet that regional demand that we know that we're dealing with, and we're going to continue to deal with. And so that's where my urgency comes from. And, as we talk about our expectations for each other, my expectations are that, again, we come together and we do what's best for the team as a collective, and make sure that we do what's needed, again, at the end for our students. And again, I promise I'm not your enemy in this process. It's just that here's the reality. If I sit here and I keep doing MOUs, we're going to kick this can down the road another year, 2 years, and we're just going to keep patchwork. As long as patchwork keeps going on and we don't find out what our agreements are, what we're doing is we're dating, and it's probably something a really bad example, but you have this period of time where you either come to an agreement and you say, okay, we're in this together, and I'll use my wife. We can either decide we're married or we can decide that we're dating. And every time we do an MOU, we're testing the waters about how comfortable we feel with things. We need to say, no, we believe that this is how we work together, this is how we make our co-commitments to each other, the things that we will guarantee to move this college to the next level. So I'm not looking to court, I'm looking to get to the next level so that we can commit, okay?
And I think philosophically we are there, because it's been painful.
I haven't been in your all shoes to hear about it, or I have to feel it, but I've heard. And that's why, again, when I knew this was happening today, whether Dr. Cody was here or not, I was planning to come have this conversation with you as a team, because I don't need to find others to have this conversation, and I won't. My door's always open. It's like I made a comment that day. I don't feel like I need to have a contract statement that says when we can meet, and that we have this minimum requirement. My door's open. I've talked to people that have been here. I've talked to people that are no longer here. I've talked to people that are here. I'll talk all day long, and I will try to listen, but I will not sit here and lie to you about what we can or can't do. I will tell you candidly, let's try to move this forward. I would ask you to get things reduced to writing, send it to us, so we can take a look at what you think those real hard, stops are. And let's get, you guys put some expectations on us to come back next week. I'm gonna ask if you guys can do the same. And start with the big rocks. Start with the things that, hey, these are the things that we just are really, really struggling with. Put those things down. The sooner you can get it to us, the sooner we can put pen to paper and start working on it.
And we did do that, and then we realized this is not something we can even discuss today.
Okay.
And we were up to like 7 or 8,
That's good.
and we said, we know, when we meet, we're gonna be doing this, because they do stand out, and we know where tweaking needs to happen.
Please give it to us. When you're ready, okay? Like I said, candidly, this is my first one of these ever, so I'll probably get feedback afterwards, I'm sure. But I won't sit here and not tell you where I sit and where I kind of stand on these conversations. At the end of the day, I'm trying to push you to help push all of us to get to the next level and get some of these things done. Okay?
Can I add something? There was an observation I think Billy made on one of the
This
articles
answers one of the questions.
that she wanted to clarify or correct. So if you could please read through that.
Yes, there's two things in here that are significant. So if you go to 9 point, let me make sure that we get this clarified. Under the tables that are listed there, you'll see compensation for labs. I know we mentioned that this earlier today. Everybody found that page, it's on, I didn't have a page number, sorry. Faculty rank, minimum salary, maximum salary, there's a table. Then you see below where it says department chairs, and then it says compensation for labs. To clarify that should be labs and clinical. So it's not just the lab hours, so that would be 1-to-1. We referenced just labs earlier, so.
So lab/clinical.
Correct, yes. And then the only other thing, Article 8, 8.1, where it references the work week. The intent of that section, and at the bottom in D, you have post-secondary vocational faculty, that's your clock hour faculty. The plan is or was to have all faculty meet the 35-hour workload. And now we do not have 2 different groups of hours for different types of faculty. So all faculty would be the 35 hours as designated. The
So cross
15
out D, just cross out all of D.
Yeah, we could easily do that. So that would be for all faculty. So whether you're clock hour or whether you're credit, you now are gonna be would be the 35 hours a week, okay? And those are the only 2, so, thank you.
And that speaks to the importance of where we were coming from on the line items of a struck, proposal that's presented as in the format of the previous CBA, which we understand the language that wants to be removed for extraneous purposes, but it makes it difficult to say, to be sure I'm not missing anything, for example, as we go through. There
Let's
are
go
some
back and
items
forth.
that are removed, right, that, and when you remove them, it's more as if they're not mentioned rather than that they're removed.
And again, don't think I'm discounting the comments on that stuff. Let's go back and take a look at those things. We'll get you.
The only concern that I would have, and that's why I'm a little bit hesitant of doing that, we did start with all of that. But when you do, okay, now let's do the clean version, you end up creating another document, and if any tweaks were made here that were not on this original one, I don't wanna misrepresent or have missed something on that track changes version that you see here. Like, just what we talked about, that line, cross it out. Did we capture it on that other one? So that's the only caveat that I can give it to you, but just know that it may not be 100% match to what you're seeing here. So it can give you the general, but I can't guarantee it's 100%. And that's the only piece that I want you to go away with knowing that's the disclaimer on it.
Anything else, Steve?
Yeah, we'll meet the November 7th.
Okay, so you want to wait till then?
Yeah,
Okay.
we need to meet with Becca.
That's fine. No, that's fine. I just wanted to try to say that again, if it's something we feel like we need to come back together, let us know.
Or clarification.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'd say if you, again, the sooner you can send us some things to kind of start looking at, it doesn't have to be all at once. I mean, if you feel more comfortable doing it all at once, it's fine, but if it's even a little bit at a time, it helps us to start thinking if we need to allocate resources to get people on certain projects and things, okay?
Okay.
Brian, anything else?
No,
Thank you.
I think we know where we're going. All right.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. And, Dr. Kelly, now we're taking up him.
Oh, yeah. Some good thoughts.